The Seder begins with setting up the matzahs. We have 3 matzahs. We have 4 kaises. And we know that Chazal tell us that the 3 matzahs are connected the avos, and the 4 kaises are connected the imos. I think it's a very important time for us to talk to our children and tell our children where we come from. The story of the Haggadah, where does it come from? We have our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and all of the generations that have transmitted this message for us to be at our Seder table this year to share it with our children. This is a time for us to understand that we're a link in the chain. That what we received, we need to pass on. It's not enough for us to gain so much from our previous generation, but we need to continue to transmit it to the future generations. It's time for responsibility. You know, Saba would always say that we have to learn from current events and understand the message behind it and what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is teaching us. There's another thing that Saba used to say. You know, I was speaking recently to a friend of mine just a couple of days ago, and we were talking about Lamesa, what do we do about the situation? Everyone's quarantined, everyone has social distancing and isolation. What's the limud? What can we learn from it? So my dear friend said, it's not about changing who we are. It's the things that we're doing, let's do them better. And what Saba used to say was, nicht anders werden, besser werden. Right? Don't try to change. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us all tremendous koiches. Our goal is not to change. Our goal is to become better. We're already learning. Let's learn better. We're davening. Let's daven better. We're doing chesed. Let's do chesed better. All of the deeds that we're already doing, let's continue to do them. Let's not change, but let's do them better. The way in which we're interacting with one another, let's continue the incredible things that we're doing, but do them better. Improve in the things that we're doing. Nicht anders werden, besser werden. Let's not try to change the great things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, all the great gifts. But let's do them better. Even if we're giving tzedakah, is there a way for us to give our tzedakah with a more kind heart, with more love, with more kavanah? We're having Shabbos, we're having Yom Tov. Can we do it with more joy? Can we infuse it with more kedusha? Can we infuse it with more simcha? And I think that this is an unbelievable message for today. Now, I remember spending so much time with Saba. Saba didn't just exist. He lived every moment. So whether it was Shabbos, it was Shabbos. Whether it was Yom Tov, it was Yom Tov. It was doing it to the utmost perfection. And the learning needed to be learning. I remember distinctly when I used to have an occasional lunch with Saba, and people would knock at the door constantly. People would always knock at the door. And I was lucky to be the one to open the door for many people. And I remember that people would come and ask for brachas. The father would come with his son, bar mitzvah. He wants to get a bracha that day, is his bar mitzvah. So Saba would come to the door and he'd say, okay, ech efshar la'azor, what can I do? And they'd say, it says, Haita bar mitzvah, can you give a bracha? So Saba would turn to the bar mitzvah boy and say, Eze bracha ta rotzeh? So he would say, what bracha do I want? I want to be a Talmud Chacham. He says, you want to be a Talmud Chacham? Shev tilmad. Sit and learn, you'll be a Talmud Chacham. It's not chachmas, it's not kunsim. Saba wasn't about, all the platitudes and all of these, segulas, and we are what we are. We have koiches, and we need to maximize them, utilize them, not play games with them, Not try to be all Rebbish and Kabbalish and to do all these types of the kunzim. To really be what it means. I think the highest level would be to just be an Erlich Yid. An Erlich Yid. To live life to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be in our own skin, in our own flesh, not to be something else. So my bracha to all of us is that we should continue to live and be inspired by the Torah of Saba and to hopefully share it with the world, because I think this is the message the world needs to hear today. Nicht anders werden, besser werden. Let's not try to change the great people that we are. Let's just try to be better. We should have a good Tamayid, and Saba's neshama should continue to have an aliyah. Amen.